Jules Verne, Around the World in 80 Days, Chapter 10, Across the Atlantic. The 11th of December. None of the boats in the port of New York were leaving before the 14th of December, too late to arrive at the Reform Club before 8:45 p.m. on the 21st of December. Passepartout was very upset. They were only 45 minutes late, and he was certain it was his fault. Phileas Fogg didn't want Passepartout to feel responsible, and he simply said, "We'll see what happens tomorrow." The next day at midday on the 12th of December, Phileas Fogg went to look for a fast ship, large or small, to take them across the Atlantic Ocean. After trying several ships with no success, he spoke to the captain of a cargo ship, the Henrietta. "Mister," asked Phileas Fogg. "My name is Speedy," the captain said. "Is your ship fast?" "Yes, very fast." "The Henrietta does 12 miles an hour," was the answer. "Where is the ship going to?" Phileas Fogg asked. "To France, Bordeaux." "Will you take me and 3 other passengers to Liverpool?" "To Liverpool? Certainly not," said Mr. Speedy, looking at him like he was mad. "This ship must arrive in Bordeaux by the 20th of December." Phileas Fogg thought for a moment. "I'll give you $2,000 for each passenger if you take us to Bordeaux, then," he said. $2,000 each? He repeated, amazed at such a generous offer. He scratched his head. Why was this man offering him so much money? Did he have something to hide? It was a lot of money. He agreed. "The ship leaves at 9, he said. 2 hours later, our 4 travelers were on the Henrietta, and they were leaving the port of New York on their way to Bordeaux. The next day, on the 13th of December, Phileas Fogg became the new captain of the ship. Captain Speedy was in his cabin, and 2 sailors watched him carefully. He couldn't leave the cabin. He shouted, but he couldn't get out. What happened on that day was this. Phileas Fogg wanted to go to Liverpool. The captain didn't want to go there, but the sailors hated their captain, and Phileas Fogg gave them money, so they were happy about the new plan and agreed to go to Liverpool. The companions were surprised to find that Phileas Fogg was a good sailor. Passepartout tried to ask him about this, but Phileas Fogg didn't want to talk. He had to try and cross the Atlantic in stormy weather, and his mind was concentrating on arriving in England on time. He also didn't want to lose the ship and all its crew. Fix decided that Phileas Fogg was not just a thief, he was a pirate. "He's not taking the ship to Liverpool," he thought, "but to some unknown place where it's safe for him to escape. If I don't get help from the police there, all is lost." They were halfway across the Atlantic with only 5 days to go. They were going at top speed, and everything was going well until the engineer of the ship came to speak to Phileas Fogg. "If we continue at this speed, we won't have enough coal to get the ship to Liverpool," he said. "We must slow down." "We can't," replied Phileas Fogg. "We'll burn all the wood on the ship if we have to," he told the worried engineer. "Bring Captain Speedy to me." Captain Speedy was angry and wanted to kill Phileas Fogg. "I sent for you, Captain, because I want to buy your ship," said Mr. Fogg. "I'm going to burn it, at least the upper part of it, so the engine can take us to Liverpool faster. My ship, it cost $50,000. Here is $60,000, said Phileas Fogg, and he gave the captain the money. Oh! Captain Speedy became suddenly a different man. The Henrietta cost $50,000, but it was 20 years old, so it was a great bargain. You You only want the wood. I'll have the engine. Oh, yes, I'm only buying the wood, said Mr. Fogg. Agreed, replied the captain. When they came close to island, only the outside metal of the body of the ship remained. The ship couldn't get to Liverpool, so they stopped in Ireland at a port called Queenstown. From there they took a train to Dublin and then a ship to Liverpool. Inspector Fix didn't understand the man. What was in Liverpool? What was in London that he wanted to return for? This voyage seemed endless. At 20 to midday on the 21st of December, they finally arrived in Liverpool. They were exactly 6 hours away from London. Enough time to get to the Reform Club to win the bet. Inspector Fix put his hand on Phileas Fogg's shoulder. You are Mr. Phileas Fogg. Is that correct? He said. Yes, said Phileas Fogg slowly. He was a little confused by the question. Phileas Fogg, I'm arresting you in the name of the law, he said. In a moment, 2 policemen stood next to Phileas Fogg. Phileas Fogg was very angry. You, he began, I don't like men who help them like his own friends. How could you do this when I thought you were an honest person? You are worse than a criminal. For the first time, Inspector Fix felt bad. He didn't know what to do. He could see that Phileas Fogg was not really a bad man, but he was a thief, and he wanted the reward for his efforts. He went out of the room. A policeman took Phileas Fogg away, and Ada started crying loudly. She put her head on Passepartout's shoulder, and they left. Phileas Fogg looked at the walls. He had no money. All his hopes were gone. He was in a police station because they thought he was a thief. He was losing a lot of money. He looked at his watch. 2 o'clock. He had to be at the Reform Club before 8:45 p.m. Phileas Fogg could only hope for one more amazing event to rescue him. It came sooner than he thought. At 2:33 p.m., there was a lot of noise in the police station. The door opened and Fix ran in. He was red in the face. Mr. Fogg, he cried, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. A mistake, my mistake. We have the thief in prison. They caught him 3 days ago. I was on the ship, so I didn't know. You are free to go.